Okay, 13 minutes later, I think we now have a connection to Twitch. Hello, Twitch. Hello, YouTube. Hello, Internet. A while ago on Reddit, I found something called Prism. And here I am on the Prism website to take a look. It claims to be the easiest way to create data pipelines in Python. Let's take a look at it. Here's a nice pretty example. Hopefully you can see it well enough on your internet video screen. Prism project configuration. From prism.admin, import generate run ID, generate run slug. Those seem like useful things. Import logging. From pathlib, import path. Okay. Interesting that logging is capital, or is that a lowercase l? That's a lowercase l, I think. Okay, fine. Name equals my first project. Author equals Jon Snow. That's nice. I like the Jon Snow reference. Version equals 1.0. Description, my very first project. Run ID equals generate run ID. Let's keep going. Create, configure, and run your first DAG in less than 2 minutes. Features, focus on your code, not your admin. With Prism, data teams can ship their Python code faster by defining their data flow as modularized DAGs. Okay. Frictionless development. Prism's declarative programming model and flexible CLI enables users to create powerful workflows with ease. Start developing locally with a single command. Import prism.task. I didn't know you could do imports like that, prism.task. Class extract paren prism.task.prismtask. Retries int equal 2. So they're using typing, that's nice. Def run self tasks hooks. Return data. Import prism.task. Class transform prism.task.prismtask. Def run. So you write classes, and the classes contain your functions that do the stuff and return data, or return transform data. Data equals tasks.ref extract. I wonder whether data here on line 8 is the same type of object as data here on line 8. Because this would be returning from the function, so that looks like data, but this talks about a task reference, so that seems like it might be something different. Not sure about that. We'll do batteries included. Batteries included. Extract to Py. Focus on writing your core Python code. Let Prism take care of logging, retries, concurrency, and more. Why did they change it from extract.py, from extract to extract.py? I guess because you can write it either way, maybe? I'm going to clip that and look into it later. Engineering best practices. So we got some pretty colors here. But why is it extract and then extract.py? That's actually kind of bothering me. Integrate with your favorite third-party tools. No more dealing with buggy, confusing operators. Integrate with the tools you already use in your data stack using simple function calls. Buggy operators. I think they're looking at Airflow. View all integrations. We'll skip that for now. 02. Built for developers, trusted by enterprises. Effortlessly deploy your projects with Prism Cloud. Coming soon. So a cloud offering looks like the way they're going to try to make money. Unified view. Gain complete visibility and control of your projects in a single pane of glass. Run, manage, and execute your projects through our intuitive UI. Branch deployments. Accelerate your release cycle with separate deployment environments for your staging and production branches. Did I really just say branches? Ha. Separate deployment elements for your staging and production branches. Scheduling. Automate your project runs by setting either cron or interval schedules. Okay, that sounds good. Managed service. Offload your operational concerns. Focus on writing and testing your DAGs. Leave the infrastructure to us. Coming soon. It's not there yet, apparently. We're still building, but we can keep you updated. Interested in learning more? Didgeridoo 52 says, can you explain what a DAG is? Why, yes, I can. DAG stands for Directed Acyclic Graph, which sounds kind of intimidating, but let's look at some pictures, because visuals are nice. We're going to look for Excalidraw. I wish I had a... Okay, where's dark mode? Export preferences and languages. I bet that's going to have dark mode. Dark mode. Much better. Pick a tool and start drawing. Let's make some circles. So, that's really ugly. Let's duplicate this one. Can I... maybe if I control click it? Or Control D, there we go. And let's get some lines. Looks like I can click 6 to get another line. That's nice. Let's get another line. Let's 4 with a circle. Okay. This is a graph. It has nodes, and it has edges that connect the nodes. These nodes could, for example, be intersections, and the edges could be roads, or they could be addresses, or they could be like addresses, and these are postal routes between things. It could be any number of things. Anyway, this is a graph. If I go to these lines and say that I want to give them, I guess I need 5 for that. If I come in here and I delete, and let's go 5, 5. This is a directed graph. This could, for example, be a set of one-way streets in a city. However, it has a cycle. That means that you can start at one place. I can start here, move up here. Can I zoom in a bit? Yeah, that's nice. But then I want to move. Okay. I can start down here. I can move up. I can move to the right. I can move down. I can move back down. And it's a circle. Which means if we tried to tell a computer to run this, it might get in an infinite loop. So let's change things around here. Let's delete this one. Let's delete this one. And let's say it's more like this, 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 and this. This is now a DAG. Directed. Oh, it's annoying that it's going to underline this as misspelled, but whatever. It has arrows that tell a direction from one node to the next. It's acyclic, so there's a sense of start and end, and there are no circle paths. And it's a graph. So that is a directed acyclic graph. Now, what the heck does that have to do with data pipelines? It turns out that DAGs are a really convenient way to represent data pipelines. Because, I was going to say, I'll point out now, it could also look like this. They don't have to have a single start point. But very often, like you might fetch data from one place, fetch data from a second place. So data source 1, data source 2. You might combine those data. You might do a processing task on some of that data and then combine them together and then export them out somewhere. I think that's enough. I think that's enough to introduce the idea of a directed acyclic graph. So let's, oh, oops. Didgeridoo says, that makes sense. Thank you. You're welcome. I think I'll turn this into a YouTube video, in fact. I kind of like the way I presented that. So let's go back to this. Interested in learning more. I don't want to put my email. Didgeridoo says, does that mean recursion is not possible? That is a great question. There's nothing stopping you from, within this step of the graph, calling a function that does something recursive, but as for a DAG itself, it may not be possible. That's really interesting. Let's search DAGs and recursion. Recursive programming on DAGs. Using, so the snippet says, using recursion, I can solve this program with a single function that calls itself on one condition and returns a result on another condition. Over the past few days, I found myself using recursive programming to implement a model specification system with inheritance for deep learning. The goal here is to enable reproducible computational experiments for particular deep learning hyperparameter sets. Whew, this goes deep fast. Reproducibility is something I learned from the Software Data Carpentry Initiative, thus I wanted to ensure that my own work was reproducible, even if it's not, because of corporate reasons, openable, because it's the right thing to do. But how on earth can... well, let's keep reading. So how do these model spec files work? I call them experiment profiles, and they specify a bunch of things. Model, okay, well, what about recursion? How far down in this article is it? But how do I ensure I get the entire parameter set correctly without writing verbose code? This is where the power of recursive programming comes in. Using recursion, I can solve this problem with a single function that calls itself on one condition and returns a result on another condition. That's a recursive function in its essence. Yeah, you have a self-call condition and a base case. But what does that have to do with DAGs? If you were wondering why linked lists, trees, and other data structures might be useful as a data scientist, I hope this illustrates on productive example. Well, that's an interesting typo. I think I'll cut this part out of the YouTube video. Recursion tree and DAG programming. We use cookies to improve our website, except this visualization can visualize the recursion tree of a recursion algorithm or the recursion tree of a divide and conquer recursion algorithm recurrence. You can also visualize the directed acyclic graph of a dynamic programming algorithm. But yes, there's a silly sync bug whenever you switch electro slides, so redraw the current visualization manually. I don't like the colors on here. But let's see if we can play it. It doesn't quite seem to be working. This is too much of a heavy involved site for right now. Dynamic programming engaged. Giving a recursive algorithm, there is a natural DAG associated with the subproblems that are generated for a given instance. This is the dependency graph. I was actually saying something similar to that when I was working on the Winamax sponsored challenge. Can DAGs be recursive? Airflow DAG task to archive files creates recursive folders. How do I tell Airflow only that I only want the files in that folder without creating a recursive archive folder? Thanks. There's not a lot out there on this question, and it's an interesting question, so thank you for asking that. I don't have a very good answer. Generally, the whole acyclic idea of a DAG doesn't seem to play well with the idea of trying to do something recursive. Although as a practical matter, I'll say again, you can always write code in this node that is itself a recursive function as long as it has a proper base case and exits eventually, so you can move down to the next stage of the DAG. Now, Data Stack Incorporated, that's a good name. Didgeridoo says, yes, that is probably a good way of getting around it. Yeah, you can, it's like you can be recursive locally, but I don't think a DAG itself can be recursive. That'd be how I would think about it. Now, how do I get to, okay, we can go to GitHub or read the docs. Any preference? Well, they listed GitHub first, so let's go to GitHub next. Oh, let's do the docs first. Okay, docs it is. Push the back button, maybe? Or did that open in a new tab? It did. They want me to stay on their website. Where's dark mode? Maybe they don't have dark mode here. These docs are current for version 0.2.0. Welcome to Prism. Hi, Prism. Prism is the easiest way to create data pipelines in Python. With it, users can break down their data flows into modular tasks, manage dependencies, and execute complex computations in sequence. This in sequence sounds, again, not recursive to me. Why use Prism? Prism was built to streamline the development and deployment of complex data pipelines. Here are some of its main features. Real-time dependency declaration. With Prism, users can declare dependencies using a simple function call. No need to explicitly keep track of the pipeline order. At runtime, Prism automatically parses the function calls and builds the dependency graph. So what information do you have to give the functions to make sure that that works? That'd be my question. Intuitive logging. Prism automatically logs events for parsing the configuration files. Compiling tasks. Wait, let me read this again. I don't know why the grammar just fell away from my head. Prism automatically logs events for parsing the configuration files, compiling the tasks and creating the DAG, and executing the tasks. No configuration is required. Events for, parsing the, so Prism parses the configuration files and logs events, and from that, compiles the tasks, logs that, creates the DAG, logs that, executes the task, log that. No configuration is required. Flexible CLI. Users can instantiate, compile, and run projects with a simple but powerful command line interface. Batteries included. Prism comes with all the essentials to get up and running quickly. Users can create and run their first DAG in less than 2 minutes. I wonder what aspects of it may take more time to set up. Like, to do more complex things, do you need to take more time? Integrations. Prism integrates with several tools that are popular in the data community, including Snowflake, Google BigQuery, Redshift, PySpark, and dbt. We're adding more integrations every day, so let us know what you'd like to see. What is a Prism project? At minimum, a Prism project must contain 2 things: a directory of Python tasks called tasks, and a prismproject.py file for managing your Python environment. I wonder if it plays well with pip or poetry or other things. Important. In previous versions of Prism, the tasks folder was called modules. Ooh, a name change. Version 0.2.0 still allows your folder to be called modules, but you will see the following warning. Modules should be renamed to tasks. This will be an error in a future version of Prism. So a gentle warning now, but you'd better get it fixed for the future. Here's how a typical Prism project is structured. So my immediate question now is, what kind of synchronization is there potentially between multiple Prism projects? So there's a Prism project. Within that, there's data, dev, output, tasks, Prism project.py, profile.yaml, triggers.yaml. And in dev, there's a dev.ipynb. Oh, that's interesting. Tasks, we have extract.py, transform.py, and load.py. ETL. As you can see, projects can contain other folders like a data folder, an output folder, and a profile.yaml file for connecting to your project to external sources. More on this later. Guides. What is YAML file? YAML stands for YAML Ain't Markup Language. Let's take a quick look at that. What's YML? Sure, we can look at Circle CI's version. What is YAML? A beginner's guide. YAML is a digestible data serialization language you often use to create configuration files with any programming language. That was a really dense sentence. Let me just drive. Here we go. It looks like this. The basic structure of a YAML file is a map. You might call this a dictionary, hash, or object depending on your program language or mood. So, for a YAML file, you might have. Let me pull up PyCharm. Hopefully, it'll have YAML syntax stuff for me. Python poetry. New environment. We're going to call this try YAML. So let's get a new file going here. Words.yml. So with the YAML, I could do something like words, and then it automatically indents for me, suggesting didgeridoo says, so from what I understand, it is a dictionary that basically can stand on its own as its own file. Yeah. Yeah, and it's interoperable between programming languages because programs can. In fact, let's watch this happen. Words, banana. Now, would I write just a fruit here, or do I need a dash? I actually don't know I guess I don't know YAML as well as I thought I did. Let's see here. We'll do banana definition of fruit. Maybe I don't need the quotes here. Definite. If I can type another fruit. So it has this. It has a certain structure to it. Here they're doing. You can use all sorts of scalar types as values, numbers, booleans, and strings, quoted or not. If you have a list of things like images, you can denote that using a sequence of dashes. The value of a key is a multi-line string, so you can use either the literal. You can use either the literal. Okay, it's multi-line stuff. That's nice. This is getting into more complex stuff, but let's look at. Okay, this is good. How to write YAML. The basic structure of a YAML file is a map. You might call this a dictionary, hash, or object depending on your programming language or mood. Very generally, it's keys and values all the way down. So key : value. As you can see here, I've got. Oh, I probably messed that up. I probably have to do like. Words is a list of things, but banana has a definition. Let's see if I did that right. Words in keys can be separated by underscore, dashes, or spaces. At Circle CI, we use underscores. If a value is a multi-line string, moving on, YAML example, collection types. Docker has an image with command, and image. If you have a list of things like images, you can denote the sequence using dashes. So let's now go into main.py. And I hope I can just do import YAML. Uh-oh. Let's see about Python YAML. PyYAML is a YAML parser and emitter for Python, but is there not one in the standard library? Python isn't the only language that has better support for XML and JSON than YAML, though. You're likely to find this tendency across programming languages. Okay, well, we're going to do pip install PyYAML, except I'm going to use poetry. Add PyYAML. Cool. Oh, I can just import YAML now. YAML.parse, probably words.yml. Thing equals that. Let's just print the thing and run this. Oh, that's interesting. It's a generator object. Let's debug it and take a look. So I probably have to do, let's call this words, and we'll say for thing in words, print word. This might be an unnecessary digression, but we'll see about it. Stop and rerun. Thing has encoding none, end mark, Unicode string, protect attributes. Is it not print thing? Thank you, it is print thing. Although thing may not be very printable yet. I should probably look a little more into how to do this. Dictionaries without nested collections are not dumped correctly. Python 3 support tutorial. Import YAML. YAML.load. It gives you a list. Oh, I need YAML.load. And I do need to give it a loader. I thought I could skip that, but I can't. So it looks like you could try different types of... Wait a second. Oh. Do it this way. I don't need dump, but I can keep it for now. Loader equal loader. Oh, wow. I It didn't... How do I take it from a file, though? Well, okay, we'll just do with open words.yml as f colon s equals f.read. Now we've got something. And let's import pretty print. Success. Yeah. Or from pprint import pprint. Pprint words, let's run that. So we have words is a dictionary that contains a list that contains a dictionary of banana to none, comma, definition of fruit, and apple to none, comma, definition another fruit. I'm surprised that banana and definition are at the same level. That's not maybe what I was going for. Do I need to take this in further? Interesting. That's very interesting. This is an error, and it tells me so. This means one thing. This means another thing. And this is the thing I was actually going for. Let's look at it in the debugger. I think that'll be an even better way to see what it looks like. Words. Words is a list of 2. 0 is a dict of 1. Banana is a dict of 1. Of 1 key. And the key definition has the value of fruit. Now, what I want to do next with this is grab a GitHub Actions example YML. So quick start for GitHub Actions. This will work. Here we've got a YAML file, and I'll just put it in words for now. It'll be fake news, but that's okay. And let's debug this and explore the Python version of what we get from this YAML file. Not F, words. It's a dict. It has a name key with a value, GitHub Actions demo. It has a run name, which is a string, and this is some formatting. So github.actor is testing out GitHub Actions. True equals list of 1. That's interesting. What did that look like in the YAML file? Run name on push. Why does that equal true? That's confusing. Anyway, jobs, explore GitHub Actions, runs on Ubuntu latest, steps, a list of steps. And one of these steps has a dictionary with both name and uses, but most of them have a dictionary of 1 with just run and then the thing that you run. And that's all there is. What does this thing do that I've been looking at? It tells you that a job was triggered. It tells you the job is now running on a server hosted by GitHub. It tells you the name of your branch and the name of your repository. It tells you check out repository code. Oh, it says that it's going to check out repository code, and it uses an actions thing. So that's a lightning tour of YAML. Where were we? We were in the docs. Okay, so that's YAML. .py we know. .ipynb is for IPython notebook or a Jupyter notebook. And that's pretty cool that you can have that in there. Guides, jump right in. Follow our handy guides to get started on the basics as quickly as possible. We have getting started, fundamentals, CLI, and API reference. If you have any feedback about the product or docs, please let us know. I will let you know, Prism, if I have anything. So let's jump into getting started, but maybe that'll take me to installation. Users can install Prism with pip. I hope I can install it with Poetry because I'm kind of into Poetry these days. Prism will be installed in Python's bin directory, so make sure this directory is included in your path variable. You can confirm that the project was successfully installed by running which Prism in your terminal emulator. A quick note on the host is M1 chip. I don't have that. Adapters. Adapters allow users to connect to data warehouses or analytics engines. Prism currently supports the following adapters. Agents. Agents allow users to run their projects on external computing environments, example Docker containers, EC2 instances, EMR clusters, and more. Prism currently supports the following agents: Docker and EC2. Command. Oh, it comes with base Prism DS. Well, what about Google Compute Engine? What about Azure? That's something that I think some people would probably want added. But anyway, let's try Poetry add Prism. Might as well do it in this try YAML thing, whatever. Poetry add Prism. Oh, this might not be the right thing. 1.3.2. Is that the version of Prism that we're on? Let me check in GitHub. No, we're on 0.2.1. I just installed the wrong thing. Didgeridoo says no. What? There's multiple things called Prism. Can I do Poetry remove Prism? Oh, it didn't even install it because it failed. Run Prism data pipelines, install with Poetry. Install. I might have to use pip for this. With Prism DS, that's not the one. Didgeridoo says there's multiple things called Prism. I might have said that already. All right, we'll use pip. Add local interpreter. Virtual environment. New. Python projects. Try YML VNV 3.11. That'll work. Close this terminal. Oh, wait, that didn't close it. That just hit it. Now we'll get a new terminal. This should be venv. Yep. Pip install. So on pip, you can do install Prism. That's annoying that it's not the same, but I guess why would it have to be the same on two different package managers? Okay, we'll do upgrade pip too. Oh, Prism DS. Maybe I can do Poetry Prism DS. Poetry add Prism-DS. 0.2.1 for Prism DS. That looks better. Resolving dependencies, this could take a moment. As far as I understand it, Poetry is more careful about resolving the various dependencies that your project has, and like your project depends on these things, and each of those things depend on other things, and there may be potential conflicts if you like choose the wrong version of package A, and then package B wants a package C, and package A wants a package C, but they want different ones. Then things don't add up. And right now, Poetry is trying to resolve all of that, and it's taking some time to do so. Quite some time. Well, while this is going, I can continue reading the Prism will be installed in Python's bin directory. dbt redshift agents, redshift, creating your first project. The primary interface for creating, manipulating, and executing Prism projects, creating your first project, is the command line. The full list of commands are described in detail in the CLI section. To create your first Prism project, navigate to your folder of choice and run the following command. Prism init -- project name my first project. Okay. Our min second info. Welcome to Prism, the easiest way to create clean modular data pipelines using Python. To get started, navigate to your newly created project, my first project, and try running the following simple commands. Prism compile, Prism run. So you got to compile and run. Interesting. Consult the documentation here for more information on how to get started. docs.runprism.com. Happy building. Again, the CLI section gives a much more comprehensive overview of how to use the command line to manipulate projects. But if you're itching to get started and want to execute this project right away, then navigate to that directory and use Prism run cd my first project Prism run. So my first question is, should this my first project directory be the same directory as the root of my repo, or does that matter? Anyway, congratulations, you've just ran your first Prism project. The project itself doesn't do much. It has one task, and this task simply creates a .text file in the output folder containing the string hello world. Here's what a Prism graph looks like. Class task.example task, decorated task.example task. Interesting. In the next session, we'll add some complexity and learn about tasks and targets. Meanwhile, let's see how this is going. Okay, we're downloading various things. What is it downloading anyway? Apparently I can't scroll over. That's interesting. Didgeridoo asks 3 minutes is a long time for download. Well, it's not even downloading stuff yet. It's resolving dependencies. So it's exploring what versions of packages work and don't work with other ones. And it's taking quite some time to do so. I think pip tends to be faster to install a package when you ask it for something. Like let's actually go to iterm and the cd PyCharm projects, try YAML. And I already have a virtual environment here made by Python virtual environment. So I can do source bin activate and then pip install prism-ds. I guess .ds probably stands for data stacks. So look, it's already collecting prism.ds. Now it's installing the collected packages. So in short, yes, this 3 minutes is rather a long time for all that stuff to happen. Yeah, pip is done, and poetry is still running. Darn. I want to like poetry, but I don't like how long it's taking right now. So we'll run things in the VNV. Didgeridoo52 says, I've never heard of poetry. Poetry is another package manager for Python. It's trying to be better than pip, but as you can see, it's got some growing pains. So let's go back to, in the next session we'll add, I want to actually run the thing. Prism init project -- project name my first project. Wait, I did install. What am I thinking? Oh gosh, that was a whole bunch of stuff that I just copied into my terminal. Oh, that's annoying. That's a fail by Prism, that their copy button copies the command and all the example output. That's not nice. Try this. Oh, this is kind of taking a while. There we go. Welcome to Prism. Oh, and it doesn't have the same outputs as it showed on the example. That is interesting. Oh no, yes it did. Okay, never mind. Welcome to Prism, the easiest way to create clean modular data pipelines using Python. To get started, navigate to your newly created project, My First Project, cd My First Project. How come PyCharm doesn't see it? There it is. Data, dev. Did you put an IPy notebook there? You did. That's nice. Output dot exists. Oh, that's a cute way to do it. I've seen dot get keep, but dot exists is a nice one too. Tasks, class task, decorated task. What does that mean? Anyway, let's go back to the example. cd My First Project, Prism run. I didn't do compile. Oh, wait. To get started, navigate to your cd, try the following commands. Apparently I can do Prism run without doing Prism compile, so let's try that. I assume it'll auto compile. Yeah, I was nice and quick. Warn, profile var found in Prism project.py, but profile YAML not found. I don't think I care about a profile right now. Parsing Prism project.py. Let's look at Prism project.py. Import. Yeah, this is not going to work. Wow, Portrait is still going. That's incredible. So it's, yeah, the imports are going to be a problem in this view, but that's okay. Then running event task dag, finished event task dag, running event creating pipeline dag execution, creating pipeline dag executor, tasks imperial betong, and then a code. In one of two, running event decorated task example task, decorated task example task, running finished done, running finished done, and done. So let's look now at some of these. Oops. Let's look at some of these task files. What do we got? Class task, in this script we ... Prism infrastructure imports task definition. This doesn't look that simple to me. Well, return hello world, so. And they've got a bunch of boilerplate here that you might want later. Well, what does the slash operator here mean in when it's not in a string? Location equals prism project.output slash quote hello world. That's an interesting thing. Type equals prism.target.txt. Def run. Okay, so that's example task. What about decorated task? Return hello world. What's the difference? Oh, there's a class? Okay. Or it's a decoration. They seem to both have... Did only one of them run, or did they both write hello world? Why would we run them both? Did we run them both? And in that case, is it a race condition for which one writes the last hello world message? Let's just try hello world 222. in the class task. And it says it did the decorated task and then the class task, so I think it should give me the 222 version in hello world.txt. Yeah, 222. And then what if I do decorated task 333? Will that ever win the race? Or lose the race, rather, because it's the one that happens last. Now class task is the one that happened last. Oops, hello world. But it's still 222. Wait, did I do the same? I'm losing track of which one happened. Help me out. Which did it do? It did 222 both times. And it seems like class task always happens last. Didgeridoo says yes. Okay. And what if I go to decorated task, or no, class task, and just be like, boom, comment you out. Does it break something? Or it just does the decorated task. And hello world should be, yeah, 333. So hey Prism, here's some feedback. I think it's really weird that you had two examples in your like hello world example, and that they're both writing to the same place and the one overwrites the other. I get that you want to have two examples, but it's pretty strange to have them overwriting each other's output. So that's my first feedback to Prism. Gosh, I think it's time to give up on this poetry thing. Oh, whatever, let it keep running. Okay, let's go back to here. Next, why Prism? Okay, marketing section. Yeah. Oh, I'm tired. Well, how long have I been streaming? I may not stream very long today. We'll finish out the hour and that might be it. Okay, why Prism? Prism versus Airflow. In the world of data management, orchestrators are a critical tool for building and operating data pipelines. One of the most popular orchestrators is Apache Airflow, thanks to its Python-based design and web interface. However, for many teams, Airflow may not be the best choice for supporting the entire process of creating and running data pipelines. Airflow's design originated in a time when software engineering principles weren't yet fully integrated into the world of data management. As a result, it may not fully meet the needs of modern data teams. For example, here are a few differences between Airflow and Prism. Local development. Airflow has an extremely abrasive local development environment. Users generally have to spin up a web server and a scheduler, which itself often requires knowledge of Docker, Redis, and Celery. As a result, it's difficult to develop, test, or review pipelines outside of production deployment. Conversely, local deployment with Prism is easy. You can launch a run immediately in the CLI in a lightweight way. Data as a first-class citizen. In order to move data between tasks, users can either write the data to S3 or some other cloud platform, or use XComs. They should have said that when using Airflow, in order to move data between tasks, blah, 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 because it's not clear that they're talking about Airflow there. Using XComs. These have a ton of limitations, e.g. you have to write custom logic to serialize, deserialize data. Oh man, I was doing that. I was serializing lists into strings so that, because I didn't need to do that. I could have just changed the characters that I had in my lists. That's interesting. Anyway, large XComs cause the web server to crash, etc. Prism doesn't share these limitations. Tasks can return any object, and the tasks.ref call will reference that object exactly without any additional logic needed. I'll be interested to know how that works in detail. Imperative versus declarative. Airflow's DAGs are imperative. You have to keep track of the pipeline order and provide instructions for which task should run when. In contrast, Prism projects are declarative. The pipeline order is automatically inferred by looking at function calls. Oh, I think I get the difference. It would be instructive to build the same pipeline in both Airflow and Prism. I'll do that later. This list is not exhaustive, and the full slate of differences between Prism and Airflow can fill its own blog post. Probably more than a blog post. TLDR, Prism was designed to make data practitioners more productive. We'd love for you to join our community. And I'll take a glance at tasks, but I think that'll be something to get into next time, because I'm feeling like it's been enough of a stream for today. So thank you, viewers, for hanging out with me on, let's go back to this Y Prism marketing page. Also, I'd be interested to hear about Prism versus Dagster and Prism versus Prefect, because those are two other competitors in the space. Okay, let's go to the not starting soon, but rather not be right back, but rather thanks for watching. Okay, and thank you for watching. I'll be back online sometime.